Geometry kids. Today we're going to do a quick lesson on parallel lines and transversals. If you've already done a Desmos assignment, it went through things there. So that is what the order things should have gone in. If you have any questions, make sure you send me a message. What we're going to talk about today is angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. And you know what parallel lines are. There are two lines that go in the same direction with the same slope. A transversal is a third line that intersects both of the original two lines. And we name some angles formed by parallel lines and transversals because those angles are going to be the same or different depending on where they are. So the first kind of angles that we talk about are alternate interior angles. And I'm going to put a letter Z next to that because alternate interior angles always form a letter Z. So the letter Z we can see here is this thing. So alternate interior angles would be the 3 and the 6. And also a pair of alternate interiors are the 4 and the 5. Okay. And then the rule is when you have alternate interior angles are congruent, which means they have the same measure. And if you see this is Pete. Pete's trying to eat my pen right now. Everybody say hi, Pete. Yeah, stop that. So alternate interior angles are congruent, which means they have the same measure. Please stop eating that. Okay, alternate interior angles make a Z. The reason they're called alternate interiors is they are inside the parallel lines and they are on alternate sides of the transversal. Next, let's go to green. Corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are angles that are basically in the same position. Okay, now not exactly the same position, but if I look at these top 4 angles up here, number 1 is in the top left. If I then look at the bottom 4 angles, number 5 is also in the top left. Those are corresponding angles. So number 1 and number 5 would be corresponding. Or numbers 2 and 6 would be corresponding. Okay, so same position. And the other rule is corresponding angles are also congruent. Not congruent, congruent, which means they have the same measure again. And last but not least, we have same side interior angles. Same side interior, same side supplementary. So when I talk about this in class, I'm going to say same side supplementary. Pete, really? So supplementary angles, he's eating the camera. You're a menace. Same side supplementary, same side interiors add up to 180. Same side interiors would be like 4 and 6 are same side interiors because they're both inside the parallel line, but they are on the same side of the transversal. So they almost make like a letter C here, or on the other side, like that. Okay, so alternate interiors make a Z, same side interiors make a C, pardon me, can't even talk. Same side interiors are supplementary. That means they add up to 180. And then you just have to follow the rules to go with them. So if we come down here, what you'll also notice, by the way, is that angles within parallel lines and transversals are always going to be congruent or supplementary. So you got a 50-50 shot at getting it right. So if I come down here, M is parallel to N, and 1 is equal to 150 degrees, find the measures of everything else. Well, let's see. 150 is right next to 2, and together, these two form a straight line. That makes them a linear pair. Linear pairs are supplementary, so they have to add to 180, making 230 degrees. Now, what would my reasoning be? My reasoning would be linear pairs are supplementary. Okay, now angle 3. So I just found out that this was 30. What about angle 3? So if 2 is 30, 3 is vertical from 2, so 3 would also have to be 30 because vertical angles are congruent. And again, congruent means they have the same measure. They are the same in every way. And then we can just go from here. Now, how would I know what 4 is? Well, I'm going to go with the easy route. 4 is vertical from 1, so 4 is another 150. And that's again because vertical angles are congruent. And in this case, I'm saying 1 is equal to 4. Okay. Now I got to come down to the bottom. So now I got to look at 5. What is 5 going to be? Well, we have two choices here. Option 1 is to say, well, if I look at 5 here, 5 is on the left-hand side of the transversal with 3. These angles would be same side interiors. That would make them supplementary. So if 3 is 150, then 5, or 3, pardon me, is 30, then 5 is 150 because same side interior angles are supplementary when lines are parallel. And if you're wondering, oh my gosh, do I have to write all that? Can't I just write same side interior? No, unfortunately you can't. Same side interior just tells me what the name is. It doesn't tell me why the measure is what it is. And the end part, when lines are parallel, that's also important because believe it or not, you can have two non-parallel lines also cut by a transversal, but in that case, your same side interiors do not need to be supplementary. Welcome back, Pete. All right, so that's why we have to say same side or supplementary when the lines are parallel. And then 6, 7, 8, we can just go from there. I'm going to give you some other reasons here. 6 is going to be 30 because I'm going to look at 6 in the top right and 2 in the top right, and those are corresponding. So 6 is going to be 30 because corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. That equal sign with a squiggle on top is the symbol for congruent. And then 7 is vertical from 60, and 8 is vertical from 5. So 8 and 5 match up, and that's 150. Okay, and here I use the fact that vertical angles are congruent twice. All right, I want to move on here because I don't want this to drag out. So what you have to remember is when you look at two angles, you got to decide, are they equal or do they add up to 180? Those are the only choices. So down here, we have given that M is parallel to N. Find the value of X for the problems below. So I have this and I have that. They are both in the bottom left, making them corresponding. Corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. X minus 3 equals 83. Pardon me, X minus 13 equals 83. Add 13 to the other side. Why did I write X squared? I do not know. Making X 96 degrees. I look over here, X plus 40, 3X plus 60. If I box them in, that's not the letter Z. Hello, Peter. That's not the letter Z. That's kind of like a backwards C. Those are same side interiors, so they are supplementary. X plus 40 plus 3X plus 3X plus 60. I should really remake this video, but I don't have that kind of time. X plus 4 plus 3X plus 60 equals 180. That gives me 4X plus 100 is 180. Subtract 100. 4X equals 80. Divide by 4. X equals 20. Now on each of these, it says find the value of X. I did that. Then it says what's the reason? So what I'm looking for is the name of the angle. So up here, our reason here was that corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. And on the right, we said that same side interior angles are supplementary when lines are parallel. Okay, and that's what we got there. So I am actually going to pause this video for a second, and I am going to fill out the answers to C and D. I would like you to do the same. Pause the video, try to do C and D, and then check back with my answers. So let me go back and click on the pause button. And when I unpause, this is going to be fresh and done. Okay, I did them, and I got 31 and positive, or also technically negative 10. Now, how did I get there? On this first one, I realized that this 4x plus 5 and this 2x minus 11, they don't really have a name. They're not alternate interiors because one's outside the parallel lines and one's not. So what I did is I said, well, 4x plus 5 is vertical with this other angle here. So I rewrote 4x plus 5 in that spot, and then realized that I had some same side interiors inside that letter C, which was how I knew they added up to 180. So the reasons I actually used 2, I knew that vertical angles are congruent, and I also knew that same side interior angles were supplementary when the lines are parallel. Obviously, I'm abbreviating that quite a bit. It's more important that you know it than that you write it out every single time. And then when I come over here, I realize those made the letter Z, which means those are alternate interiors, and alternate interior angles are congruent when lines are parallel. And then when I set those equals, I ended up with x squared equals 100. And when you square root both sides, you have to put that plus or minus in front. Okie doke. All right, almost done. Is M parallel to P? Well, here's the thing. This is why we've been writing out those sentences as corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. So if I come here and look, 64 and 114, they kind of make a letter C here. So these are same side interiors. Let's see if they're supplementary. 64 plus 114 is going to be 178. That's not 180. So M is not parallel to P because the same side interior angles don't add to 180 degrees. Now let's come over here. 72. 72. Those look like they're in the same position. That's because they are. Those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are supposed to be congruent, and these are. So M is parallel to P because the corresponding angles are congruent. Ta-da! All right, so I am done with that for the day. I usually need to give you guys a bad joke. The bad joke today is going to be, what do you get if you cross an elephant with a kangaroo? What do you get if you cross an elephant with a kangaroo? I don't know what it's called, but you get a lot of holes in Australia because elephants are heavy, and if they jump, they make holes. I know. If I have to explain it, it's not that funny. All right, I am going to sign off. I hope you are all having a wonderful day and continue to do so. See you later.